When the lie is loudest, the truth is usually sitting in the evidence locker, accidentally misplaced. Something just flipped, and the courtroom wasn't ready for it. After months of denial, delays, and disappearing files, the missing evidence didn't just reappear. It detonated the entire narrative. The same people who pointed fingers are now being fingerprinted. And get this, according to a 2024 legal report, over 31% of wrongful cases involved withheld or lost evidence. So when evidence suddenly resurfaces, it doesn't whisper, it screams corruption. This isn't just justice, it's poetic payback. The chosen one didn't just survive the trap. They watched it collapse in court while sipping divine irony. And those who once smoked in suits, now sweating in jumpsuits, strap in, because what was supposed to bury you just buried them instead. Let's get into it. Number one, it was never about justice. It was about silencing you. They didn't come after you because they had proof. They came after you because your existence alone was proof. Proof that they were lying. Proof that their story didn't hold up. And proof that someone outside their system could actually see what they were doing. It was never about justice. That word was just their cover story. The real goal was to shut you up, to control the narrative, and to turn the spotlight away from their mess. You were dangerous because you knew too much, saw too clearly, and refused to play by the script they handed you. They needed someone to take the fall. You were convenient, smart, observant, and not easily manipulated. The worst kind of person to let walk around freely while secrets were rotting underneath the surface. So they created smoke and called it fire. They spun stories and handed them to people in suits who were too busy chasing headlines to ask real questions. And you were expected to sit there, let them rewrite your life and stay silent while they did it. But silence from someone like you only makes them more nervous, because they knew, deep down, that if you ever got a chance to speak, everything they built would start to crack. You weren't just a witness. You were the blueprint they hoped would never be studied. Every time you walked in a room, they were reminded of everything they hoped to erase. You didn't have to yell. You didn't have to beg. You simply had to keep existing, and that alone put them on edge. That's why they fought so hard to frame you. It wasn't about what you did. It was about who you were and what that meant to their carefully built illusion. They could sense that the longer you stayed standing, the closer they were to being exposed. And now that the case has flipped, now that the missing evidence has landed exactly where it was supposed to, they're not just losing control, they're unraveling, because the person they tried to silence is the very one the truth is now defending. And that truth is not just loud, it's legally binding. Number two, they fabricated a narrative because reality was too dangerous. They didn't just lie because they were desperate. They lied because the truth was too dangerous to let out. The real story would have destroyed everything they'd spent years trying to protect: reputations, money, control, and access. You weren't just someone who saw what happened. You were holding a truth that would have shattered their entire setup. So instead of facing the facts, they built a fake version of reality and forced it on everyone like it was gospel. They needed people to believe it, and they needed you to disappear quietly inside their fiction. They spent more time creating the lie than fixing the mess they caused. They knew the truth couldn't be argued with, so they twisted it, buried it, and replaced it with noise. They didn't just want to distract people, they wanted to erase you from the equation completely. If they could control the version of events that got out first, they thought they could control everything else. But what they didn't expect was that truth, even when hidden, leaves fingerprints, and you were paying attention. They underestimated the power of clarity. The moment the mask slipped, even a little, it became obvious that things weren't adding up. The facts weren't aligning with the story. And the people they used to prop up their lies started cracking under pressure, because lies are heavy, and the more people involved, the harder it becomes to keep them straight. Eventually, one contradiction turns into 10, and before long their story doesn't just look weak, it looks made up. They knew if the truth came out, they'd be finished. That's why they attacked you so hard. That's why they tried to discredit you, frame you, and label you as unstable, bitter, or unreliable. Because they couldn't afford to have someone credible holding a version of reality that exposed the whole operation. You were a walking threat to everything they built, and that's why they fought dirty. Now that the truth is starting to surface, their panic isn't about justice being served. It's about control slipping through their hands. And the most ironic part, the very story they created to protect themselves is now the evidence that's going to bury them. Because facts don't fade. They wait. Number 3, the system was never broken. It was built this way. They picked you because they thought you were the easiest target. You were quiet, observant, and didn't move with the crowd. That made you the perfect scapegoat in their eyes, someone they could pin the blame on, someone who wouldn't fight back loud enough to cause problems. But they were wrong about you completely. What they didn't realize is that you weren't built to crumble.
Still on their necks, girl. Listen at this, though. They tried to erase me off this platform.
All they really did was set the stage for their own exposure. They thought dragging your name through the mud would protect their own. If they could make you look guilty, they could hide behind that and continue doing dirt unchecked. It wasn't about proving anything. It was about distracting everyone from looking in their direction. You were supposed to be the smokescreen, the cover-up, the convenient headline that kept the public from asking real questions. But it backfired, because the more they talked about you, the more people started watching you. And when people really look, they start seeing what's out of place. That's where things started falling apart for them. Your calmness under pressure, your ability to stay grounded, the way you carried yourself.
See, the thing is, they tried to daggone erase me off of here. See, when I told everybody that Patrick was, you know what I'm saying, that God said that Patrick isn't guilty. See, the thing was, they were spinning this. They've been playing this game for years. They played it on Jesus, and everybody judged Jesus. So I went into my head thinking, wow, this young man could be Jesus. And Father God said, judge ye not, yet ye be judged. So I walked through the valley of the shadow of death, because I know ain't nothing gonna harm me when them celestial angels and beings in heaven has guarded me and told me, this is your assignment. And I couldn't understand what an assignment was, y'all. But as I went through this trial and looking at it from every angle, knowing the killer was truly the person that I said it was, knowing that all the players in the game was who I said it was. It was all a game. And for them to daggone think, you know what? Oh my goodness, Big Mama, where you going with this? Because all of America was played. Not only was we played with the cupcake case, we was also played with Carly Russell, the same player. See, what happened was they was in Clubhouse, just like this here recording of them confessing that they played the game. And see, the police was playing with these y'all know, they said Vito worked for the police. So, if Vito worked for the police, then that means he got the police in his hands. And they was working with him. And so, as I watch, I've been listening, trying to figure out why people is looking. Hold on, y'all. I'm trying to see something real quick. In a direction to say, this man is guilty. So, y'all know me. Father God said, no, that man ain't guilty by far. And you got to go in there. You might look funny. They might call you crazy. They might laugh at you. They might mock me in you. But it's okay. So we're going to let them talk about you, do whatever they want to, because at the end of the day, say, you going to have the last laugh. Not them. So they convicted a man that had no parts in this mess that they've made a mess of. They done hid evidence. They forged documents in this baby's case and everything. When all in all, y'all, I got to show you, and the proof is in the pudding, that they had already had it already in the bag. Now here you go. And I want y'all to hear this because I gonna been showing it and playing it and letting everybody see the real deal of the Holyfield, of what these people really did to this little baby girl. And Patrick Starworth was just the scapegoat. But I want y'all to listen to this and listen good now, because this is what happened to Cupcake.
Hello, Mr. Collins.
Wait a minute, hold on. Gotta make sure I get the right one. Here we go.
He told me he did. Oh, I'm saying names, bro. Yes, he did. That man ain't gonna lie. Big Day told me everything, but y'all think I'm really sitting here stupid and I'm just playing like
I wasn't in the room. But
trust me, I know everything y'all holding the deal because I ain't wrong.
came back and said he was in that dog, so I don't know.
We don't come out.
All I know was that he was definitely saying no, they had something to do with his baby again. Well, I got in it then.
Well, he told the feds we hadn't known it, so he keeps saying no, and that means he was talking about me too. Because the feds
say your name.
So as y'all can see, Nolan and Vito were first suspects in the case. Vito want to put Nolan in it, but Vito gonna tell on himself. Just listen, y'all.
Listen, kill all this. I'm telling y'all, this boy told the feds that he and Nolan did this,
These the fake documents she about to scream out they had.
Take the test that was passed, so therefore it's killed. Abraham had nothing to do with it. Dominique had nothing to do with it. Nolan ain't had nothing to do with it. Vito had nothing to do with it. Why the fuck y'all gotta make it be more than what the fuck it is?
I know what happened. Patrick Starworth and them took Cupcake up to the certain point.
Y'all hear Vito? He said he know what happened. See, Vito ain't even supposed to know Patrick Starworth. He ain't supposed to know none of these people, y'all. Get it now. Listen, this the game.
I know what the fuck happened.
Amara would be gone, dumbass hoes. And I mean, April could have went through a bad depression.
See, Shirley Chisholm would have been gone because Shirley and the girl was out there with him.
Stupid motherfucker, that went on the neglectful case.
That shit was just some sick shit that happened, bro, that wasn't supposed to happen, bro. Shit happened and mistakes happen, but we ain't finna blame nobody for that. We don't blame that, man. And if Patrick don't get the death penalty, when he go to West Jefferson, when he gon' get killed, so it don't matter.
That nigga had nothing to do with it. Nolan ain't had
It's supposed to happen, bro. Shit.
Would be gone, dumbass hoes. And I mean, April could have went through a bad depression.
See, Shirley Chisholm would have been gone because Shirley and the girl was out there with him.
Stupid motherfucker, that went on the neglectful case.
That shit was just some sick shit that happened, bro, that wasn't supposed to happen, bro. Shit happened and mistakes happen, but we ain't finna blame nobody for that. We don't blame that, man. And if Patrick don't get
Now, this is how the angels drop something in your lap. The angels was working on earth while the heavens was working for Patrick from the gate. You see? And what happened was the angels dropped this in my lap because see, they wanted to take this off of off of Facebook, because the feds will be listening to everything that they saying on Facebook. That's why y'all wonder where Vito and them went. They went to Clubhouse. This is where this come from, Clubhouse. So they said, we're not gonna blame nobody. We're gonna blame Patrick. And if Patrick don't get the death penalty, he gonna get deleted. So the thing is, the grave, the pit that they dug for Patrick Starworth, now the detectives and all of them are running and scurrying around. See, Big Mama daggone broke the internet. And how I did that is, I didn't play by the game. I am the game. Matter of fact, I burnt the game board that they've been playing for years on us. Not only have they daggone did this and got away with it for years, corruption, daggone envy, hate, trolling, all of that. We got to change this. It's dark. Those things are dark. They're not of God. So see, for the Father God that I serve is very divine. And when he say it's done, it's done. So it's done. Patrick Stallworth ain't gonna have no case. No, there won't be a murder trial because he's already been, he's already been chosen, told by the heavens that he's not guilty. And if the heavens say he's not guilty, then he's not guilty. See, because there were some people that played games behind this board, this game that they played on this little girl. How does it become an accident? And how can Vito say, shit happened, mistakes happen? We're not going to blame nobody. We're going to blame Patrick. Well, hold on, wait a minute. Hold up, swole up. Because I don't play on those games. This is an innocent man's life, just like Jesus Christ. And the whole world judged Patrick Stallworth at that time, but not Big Mama. Oh, no, because God said, you judge, you not yet you be judged. So the judge had to be judged too. So the judge had to reconsider daggone putting this man to death. The judge has to reconsider doing the right thing by the Lord God that we serve. He's not playing by the books either if he belonged to the Lord High, the Lord God that's in them heavens. You hear me? So the judge that's going to trial, Patrick Stallworth's name is God. Okay? He already has daggone said the man is innocent just by dropping this off into the atmosphere. This right here. This right here.
Do with it. No, they had nothing to do with it.
I know what the fuck happened.
Amari would be gone, dumbass hoes. And I mean, they could have went through a bad depression.
See, Son children would have been gone because Son and the girl was out there with them.
Stupid motherfuckers, they went up to neglectful case.
That shit was just some sick shit that happened, bro, that wasn't supposed to happen, bro. Shit happened and mistakes happen, but we ain't finna blame no.
Now, can y'all please tell me where the mistake happened at about deleting a little girl, an innocent little girl? You know what I'm saying? They was trying to frame the dad, but the dad played the game and flipped the game on him, let him know. You know what I'm saying? Your homeboy told us that you did it. Not only that, Vito made a song about this baby. Who other than the mother could have gave Vito the permission to make the song because the daddy didn't. Y'all see what I'm saying? So now we got to go back to whoever made this video about what's really going to happen and what's happening. So these people said Vito, Two Guns Vito, Daniel Joke says, we not gonna blame nobody. We're gonna blame Patrick. And if Patrick don't get the death penalty, then
We don't blame that. You know about that. And if Patrick don't get the death penalty, when he go to West Jefferson, when he gonna get killed, so it don't matter.
God saying shit don't say Vito. It's the fact that you brought up
that's April.
And Dominique said that Vito is known to have something to do. That's still bringing Vito into the equation when you get down to break that shit down, bitch. At the end of the day, you had no business talking about that shit at all.
Now, that's her daughter, and she's calling her daughter, you know what I'm saying, shit, you shouldn't be talking about it. See, they didn't want nobody to talk about it because if you continue to talk about it, then it's going to bring light to their darkness. So Big Mama was the light to bring out and expose this corruption, this play and everything, and the lie. Then they gonna just blame an innocent man because at first it was meant to take down the baby daddy. You see? But after the baby daddy called the police and say that ain't him dropping his baby, because them girls was a part of the play too. Little Brittany Tron, her little crew in the car, that daggone threw off everything, tried to anyways. Yes. So then we had to daggone go back to, wait a minute, this ain't, if they got the kidnapper in jail, this is the second play. They tried to daggone see if anybody was going to catch the play. Carly Russell. Nothing in Birmingham, Alabama, or Alabama, period, should have been kidnapped after they got the kidnapper. His name was Patrick Stallworth, so they say. So how did Carly Russell, a medical student, very bright future ahead of her, and the devil came in just like he did with Cupcake. He showed himself in the Carly Russell case just as well. He made all kind of memes on Carly Russell. He went to different platforms, Chris Coleman, Daggone Ratchet TV. He went to everybody he could do the daggone taint Carly Russell's name. And the only reason why he did this to Carly Russell, because Carly Russell didn't want to give Daniel Jelks no kind of holler. See, he think because he a rapper, he can, all the women want him. Well, not everybody wants you, Daniel Jelks. You's a demon. You was a demon when you took the mayor's daggone nephew, boy. And you set the scene for that. And you tried to act like the boy tried to rob you through a doggy door. For America have to open up their conscience to realize that a young man trying to daggone rob somebody through a doggy door, but yet his body is in the yard. He should have been laying on the porch. But everybody's sleeping and your conscience ain't open. So this is how the game is being played on you. Because as long as you sleep and as long as we can daggone spin a narrative around anybody that's telling the truth and we know we lying, then the world will listen to the lie and not the truth. All right? So let's go to the cousin daughter coming to tell me. Patrick Stallworth was supposed to take the baby in the daytime. So here she come in here trying to tell me what I'm supposed to do and what I ain't supposed to do. So these are things that y'all haven't heard, America. So Big Mama wants y'all to hear it. Now, we done heard the confession of who killed Cupcake. Now, they come in and use the daughter, her oldest daughter, which is Sean Long, the daggone spin a narrative around the story. Nobody said they was going to prosecute her. But see, Sean was feeling some type of way to make her daughter come in here and expose the truth. Here we go.
You want, hey, she get it together. You want to die?
Wait.
You got kidnapped at night. The football game was over with for hours. One folks brought that to your attention saying that, oh, it was nighttime when the baby got kidnapped. Now you had to change your story. You went to the store. Then you went to get something to eat. I'm trying to see, bitch, where were you? Where were your clown, bitch? You don't know what she was, but y'all always talking about folks and mamas and mammies. Bitch, you are mammy. You dusty foot mammy. You big blimp mammy. Your child not still dusty, bitch. And son, your child dusty as fuck. Don't even got no soles in the bottom of their shoes. Them people children when you started. God, they shouldn't say nothing about mine. They shouldn't say nothing about mine. So fuck them and the kids on my phone. Everybody don't like it, get it. And Sean, your children, bitch, running around the project right now. Just that bad. Put it back.
So we're gonna go here.
Okay, so all I'm gonna say is, for one, you can't get me investigated because I was at the movies at the time that it happened, and I ended up walking to Roses with a group of friends. First of all, and I'm pretty sure there will be a camera footage of me there if that camera footage goes that far back. And I also called my mother them to come pick us up from the movies.
Now, this Sean Long's daughter, the little girl that was with Cupcake's sister, she done sent her in here to be smart to me, and come to find out, she about to expose the whole daggone ordeal, and it ain't nothing nice, y'all. It ain't nothing nice. She gonna tell us she don't know when Cupcake come up missing, but you gonna tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. Baby, the heavens know what happened. The trees know what happened. The grass know what happened. I don't need to know what happened. The divine told me what happened. He showed it to me, and he said the man ain't guilty. You are the one that caused Patrick Stallworth to be arrested, little girl, because you took the story of a man really giving out candy or selling candy at the school and bought that stuff to Tom Brown, which means Patrick was never out at Tom Brown apartments, daggone riding around giving out candy. That little girl lied on him. Talking about, y'all just listen though. I just want y'all to see how she took her girlfriend's story and her girlfriend's cousin's story from Hayes High Middle School and brought it to Tom Brown and made it a kidnapping, and that's how the kidnap. Y'all do not know the woman that threw the birthday party. They set her car on fire that night. They turned around and daggone ran the woman off the road, and she is no longer alive anymore, America. So they daggone not only played the game, but they also deleted some of the players in the game. One of the girls that was in the car with Brittany is no longer here. Her face got shot off. Okay, she is no longer here. The one that was in the blonde wig, talking about, oh, he dropped his baby. Yeah, he got his baby. Well, they made sure she got hers because she shouldn't have lied on that man. But I'm sorry, as truth is truth. You gotta stay out of stuff that don't mean you a hell beans. You had no business playing that part. Now everybody else was getting eliminated and deleted. Tony Bass was on the search and rescue, so Tony Bass knew something, and that's why they had to get rid of Tony Bass as well. Let's go.
Because they were out right. They informed me that Cupcake was missing. Now, mind you, earlier that day.
Now she knows Cupcake missing when she get in the car, y'all. Okay, so Cupcake is missing at this point. Me, they're going to the movies, or they coming from the movies, whichever she say. Here, well, let's go back now.
The people that I went to that far back, and I also called my mother them to come pick us up from the movies. Because they were.
So April and them left the projects knowing that the baby is missing now. Y'all listen. The baby missing. April goes and leave with Sean to go pick up kids. The baby couldn't have been missing then. Because you didn't give a dang. You didn't stay around there to search for your little girl. You jumps in the car to go pick up a car full of kids. So you wasn't even worried about your baby being missing. Now come on now. Because listen now.
All right. They informed me that Cupcake was missing. Now, mind you, earlier that day, the people that I went to the movies with, they were on the way.
Earlier that day, meaning it ain't no nighttime. Because now she about to lie. This baby came up missing at nighttime, not daytime, y'all. That clears Patrick right then and there. Listen now.
Around to my house to go to the movies, right? Okay, boom.
They going to the movie. Now the little girls done came home. They done been home. Now they come around the corner screaming. Come on now, little girl. Them little girls, why didn't they come around the corner screaming when y'all seen the man out there daggone riding around with candy? Come on, make it make sense, America. Because the game has been played on us and we got to dissect it now.
They come around the corner screaming. And I'm like, what's wrong with y'all? They like, this man was trying to get us, such, trying to give us candy at the school. They was leaving.
Clearly, the little girl just said, at the school. So she takes her girlfriend's story and brings it to Tom Brown and makes it a kidnapping from here. Let's go.
Cheerleader practice from Hayes, K through 8. And I was just like, that man ain't stun y'all. That man don't want to get y'all. Later on that night, we found out that my cousin is missing now.
Now, why the little girl lie? Because, you know, the little girl was missing when you daggone got in that car and they told y'all she was missing earlier, okay? Now, listen now. Y'all see the lie, y'all see the play. Let's get it.
Mind you, I'm not thinking none of the man from earlier, which is Patrick. To be specific, I'm talking about Patrick, who was bribing my cousin and my girlfriend and her cousin with candy.
At the school. So how is Patrick at the school and he done daggone just waited for these little girls to go home? They see this man riding around. I guess he done supposed to follow them home or whatever. What the hell? What this little girl saying? Whatever it is, it ain't right. It's a lie. Listen now.
And I heard that he was doing that to multiple children out there throughout the whole day. Now, who do you know normal will be doing that for a whole day?
So if this little girl seen this man riding around, giving out candy and enticing people to get candy, why didn't this little girl at the age of 12, because she's 17 now, okay, that's 7 years ago, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, okay, when it happened, she had been, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, yep, 10 at the time. So you mean to tell me a 10-year-old sees a man and a woman enticing kids with candy, but they don't run in the house and tell mama? Because there wasn't no man and a woman out there in Tom Brown. Let's go.
from day to night. That is not normal for a person, especially a man and a woman, saying this for their children, to raise money for their children.
Now, this is at the school. This is not at Tom Brown Apartments. She took her girlfriend's story and bought it to Tom Brown. Because that man ain't been riding around out there. Patrick was not riding around out there enticing kids for candy. They had this all set up. They had the game played because the daggone system was on their side. We can't be corrupt, and we got to stick with this lie. But the daggone pressure got on everybody when the FBI came in. Let's go.
What does children need? I know they have children, but
now how does the daggone little girl know about Patrick? How does the little girl even know Patrick, period? You should know the kidnapper of your daggone little cousin, little girl. So see, now we getting deeper now. She know they got children, but the children ain't with her. Why? How do you know this? How do you even know this man's name? Who gave him the name? You feel me? Who alerted the police to Patrick? None other than this little girl right here.
Oh, they're not with them. So for one, that was a lie. Why did they lie about it? But you act like you know everything, but you really don't. You don't know nothing about this situation.
Now I'm gonna say this. This the little girl that lied on Patrick Stallworth, America. Cause in the same breath that she getting smart with me, I'm a grown woman, little girl. Your mama made you come and mess with a flame, burning with desire to they're going to show the world that this man was innocent. Y'all, this little girl said, what a little smart mouth. Even if Patrick didn't kidnap her, you little lying cunt, you. You lied on this innocent man. You, little girl, and you need to be prosecuted.
You wasn't there when none of it happened. April was there. Like, it was people around where we live at that knows April was there. They had just left the football game. Dominique didn't even go to the football game. His own son's football game.
Listen now.
But you taking up for him, and you taking up for these crazy people, whether they kidnap Cupcake or not.
An innocent man got framed by this little girl. Because why would she say, rather they kidnap Cupcake or not? Little girl, you just said the man is innocent right there. And y'all played a dirty trick on an innocent man whose life was snuffed out because a little girl lied and bought that story to Tom Brown Apartments. Let's go.
The way they still are horrible people, dangerous people, and you take nothing and you fighting for them are horrible people, dangerous people into the football game. His own son's football game. But you taking up for him and you taking up for these crazy people, whether they kidnap Cupcake or not. Either way, they still are horrible people, dangerous people, and you taking up for them, you fighting for them. And whole time they really did this to Cupcake, and you saying you here for Cupcake, you this, that for Cupcake. But if you were, you would know that they did this. It was DNA of my cousin in their house, of a little baby in their house. So how wasn't it them? Even if they did kidnap her, why was there DNA?
Why she be questioning me about even if they didn't kidnap her? Little girl, they didn't kidnap her. Y'all lied. You are the liar that put that man behind bars. Let's go. Because she keeps saying, even if he didn't kidnap her. Y'all played a dirty, daggone game, but let's go.
Her in their house. We didn't know them before this happened. So you tell me that since you know everything, Miss Ma'am. No. Okay, for one, I'm going to say this. You're all the way out of town. So honestly, in my opinion, you have no say-so on this situation. You have no say-so over Cupcake. Keep her name out of your mouth because she is no relative to you, blood to you, close to you. You didn't even know her before this situation even happened, first of all. And second of all, like I said before, they were riding around mostly all day.
See how she took the lie? Now she done bought the man out there in a Tom Brown. That man wasn't riding around out there. He never came out there. That little girl said that that man was at the school. She bought that mess out there to Tom Brown to cover up for the lie.
Now, I don't know if they were.
Listen.
Honestly, I don't know who said it happened in the daytime, but I know that it happened at nighttime. Because when I called my mom and asked them to come pick us up, and they were like, we can't find Cupcake, such. This was at nighttime, like not almost night, Not.
She lying because earlier she said they told her that Cupcake was missing. See, April daggone didn't understand at 8:56 when she posted on Facebook it was still daylight outside because her son had a game. She said that she needed to come charge her phone, and Cupcake jumped out the car and went to go play with her cousin. Nothing about not about a birthday thing or nothing at this point.
They didn't like down to midnight. It was nighttime, like dark outside. So I know that happened at nighttime, and like I said, it was a video footage of Cupcake and my sister Ava at nighttime, and it was a man behind him. Now I don't know if that was Derek or I don't know who the man was in the video. I'm not sure. Nobody knows at this point, but that was at night. So I know she got kidnapped at night, and like I said, for them to be driving around. They was driving around from when, before we even went to the movies, which was in the daytime.
Now y'all see that? How is this man riding around before y'all go to the movies? You said the little girls come around there screaming to you that the man was at the school. Now how is this man? Girl, y'all got to listen.
So all the way tonight when we was leaving the movies, like, who sits here and drive around all day? Looking like bribing children with candy, like that's weird. That's delusional. You're delusional.
So y'all, if Patrick was riding around all day with candy, why he got to take the baby to go get candy? Because that was what Ava said. The man told her that he didn't want her. He wanted to take Cupcake to get some candy. But why would Patrick have to take her to get candy if he already giving out candy in the neighborhood? You see?
Like, what is wrong with you? You're literally taking up for these people, and I haven't read all the articles. I don't like reading all the articles because I don't like the things that they are saying. So honestly, I don't know every bit of thing, but from what I have read and watched, these people did this. Like, what else do you have to see?
This little girl has convinced herself of a story that she made up in her head once her girlfriend gave her the illusion, okay, of what they seen at the school. So her illusion, she made a story up and she lied about it on an innocent man. And this is not God. This is not God's grace on nobody. He could show these people. He could flip the game on them. All the lies, the kids being placed at the right time to daggone tell their version of it. It ain't gonna go down like that. The Lord Grace owes all of it. The veil is off.
Or here for you to believe this. Like, if there were scratches on his back.
Now, why would a baby be scratching that man on his back, y'all? She wasn't SA'd. The little girl was never SA'd. So the police planted evidence in his man's phone to make it look like he hadn't done something. Then he's supposed to be dating somebody in jail. You know what I'm saying? When he got a whole girlfriend that's daggone testifying against him that he did something when she never even got out of jail to testify to say what Patrick Stallworth did. Let's go. Because the little girl gonna say, she gonna say something that's detrimental. What you think? We took her in there? Yep, because the evidence didn't stand up in court about the daggone stains that was on the bed first and foremost.
She was drugged. And the drugs that she was drugged with were found in their home.
So how are we to believe that was some drugs that he had in his house? See, when they arrested Patrick, that gave Vito, April, Sean, all of them the time enough to go in that boy's house and plant evidence. Or the police. That's it, that's all. But the evidence didn't stick because the DNA that was on the mattress, it was a blood spot of Cupcakes, but their DNA. Their DNA. Not DNA of them doing nothing SA to this baby. Their DNA was already on the sheets. So now here come this little mysterious spot of blood or whatever they said it was. That's because somebody had probably poked the baby with a needle and stuck the DNA on the sheet. But they said that the two DNAs, they said it was mysterious that the way the DNA was is that the DNA, that didn't happen at the same time. The DNA that was on the bed from them didn't happen from the little blood spot. That was something different. Like someone did that. somebody framed them by putting that little blood spot on that mattress. It's like made it seem like that little girl was in this house. But the little girl gonna tell y'all what you think. We took her in there. Yep, and you gave it away right then and there, little girl.
Her blood was found on the mattresses. If all of these things,
her blood, y'all hear her? Now their DNA was on their sheets because they've been making love to one another. But they went in there and probably seen a spot on that bed, whatever color sheet they was. If it was white, they put the spot of blood by it that made it look like they did something to that little girl. And that little girl hadn't even been SA'd. And the autopsy that they said to us before they even found the baby, we already had an autopsy on what happened to the baby, and they had read everything about the baby, and they know they had told a lie. Now watch.
Occur in their home. How can you still not believe that it was not them? So what you think? Somebody broke in their house and took her in there? What you think? But
y'all heard it right. So that's enough of that. Now we can get to the daggone this man telling the story, because now this is divine intervention telling us what's about to take place from the heavenly realm to the earthly realm. Because God ain't playing with these people. They told a lie on an innocent man, and that man is like Jesus right now. He's so humble, he don't know what's happening. And his life is about to be snuffed out if Big Mama don't keep going hard for this innocent man that was framed by this little girl. Now let's go, America.
Match the narrative they tried to sell. People expected you to lash out, break down.
They tried to shut me down. They blackballed me off of here and everything. I barely get views. The algorithm ain't playing for Big Mama because Big Mama ain't playing their game. And Big Mama done exposed the game. I done turned the board over and burned it. The game is over, sweetie. If y'all didn't get the signs from the daggone Super Bowl when they was telling y'all the game is over, it was over for a reason, because they seen through the game too. The illusion is not an illusion no more. Everybody's conscience need to come open so you can see the story and see that we've been going through this generational curse with them killing people, and we just accepting the fact. It's okay, but it ain't okay in them heavenly realms when an innocent man is being on trial for something he didn't do, like Jesus. Let's go.
Or beg for mercy, but instead you remained steady. And that steady presence made everyone wonder, what if the real story hasn't been told yet? Their plan to make you the villain accidentally turned you into a question mark. And once people start asking questions, lies start leaking. Their own stories became tangled. Timelines didn't match. Witnesses got nervous. Everything they tried to do to bury you ended up exposing them. Because when you're telling the truth, all you need is time. And they gave you time, too much of it. Now they're on the defensive. The spotlight they tried to avoid is burning straight through their facade, and the scapegoat they tried to sacrifice. You've become the scandal that won't go away, not because you shouted, but because the truth backed you. And once that happens, no amount of spin or influence can stop the fallout. Number 4, the evidence didn't go missing, it was hidden by design. They didn't lose the evidence, that's the story they sold, that it was misplaced, filed wrong, or somehow vanished in a system that's too overwhelmed to keep track. But that's a lie dressed up in procedure. The truth is it was hidden, intentionally, because that single piece, that one detail they tucked away, would have dismantled the whole performance. It didn't just prove you were innocent, it proved they were involved. And once that got out, it wouldn't be a quiet correction, it would be a full-blown collapse. So they buried it. Locked it up behind red tape, passed it from hand to hand until no one could remember who had it last. Not because it was irrelevant, but because it was too real. It wasn't just another document. It was...
So y'all, what they did was they blackballed me. They they talked about me. They mocked Jesus. Oh, she's a holy roller. She believed that the God that she served is about to let this man walk free, and he ain't. Well, the devil was walking free in Birmingham, Alabama, for years before all of this is exposed. But see, at the end, once they realized they couldn't use Vito and them no more, they had to lock him up, because now he's done exposed everything, and the lady done seen right through him. So the game is over, and now we got to lock him up because he was the first suspect in the case. Okay? Patrick Stallworth is humble. They used Patrick like they did the daggone Central Park 5 boys and locked them up. This is another case of that, an innocent man being locked up for years. When he come out, he gonna be a rich man. I tell you that. April Thomas and them some dirty folks. And time only would tell. Time got pushed back. Vito was nervous, wondering why the heck the trial ain't gone. Why they ain't deleted Patrick yet? Cause God's timing. This God's timing. It ain't your timing, Vito. Your time about to daggone shift, and the pit you put that man in is gonna be the one you rot in, and they will give you the death penalty and probably the mother too, because God not playing about this baby and what happened to her and Tony Bass and all the rest of the fallen people that was involved in this case that y'all deleted because y'all didn't want the witnesses to talk. Well, we got a witness in heaven. All the angels, the celestial beings, the trees, all of that, they seen what y'all did. And now it's about to be exposed. And this man about to tell y'all it's about to be exposed. Yes, ma'am.
Threat to their structure, to their safety, to the version of the story they had already sold to the world. They needed people to believe their version before the facts could ruin it. So they stalled. They pretended to be investigating while orchestrating a cover-up. But there's something they forgot. Truth doesn't stay quiet forever. You can delay it, you can hide it, but you can't kill it. At some point, what was hidden finds its way back to the surface. And when it does, it doesn't knock politely, it kicks the door in. That piece of evidence, it showed up exactly when it was meant to, not by coincidence, by design, because destiny doesn't play by their rules. Now that it's out, the damage control isn't working. They're scrambling, rewriting statements, turning on each other, because the thing they tried to keep hidden wasn't just proof, it was a mirror. And now everyone sees them for what they are. The illusion is over, and the ones who built their careers, their reputations, and their power on lies, they're the ones being questioned, exposed, and slowly dismantled. The funniest part, if they had released it early, it might have been forgotten in the noise, but by hiding it, they gave it power. They turned it into a bomb, and now that it's gone off, the fallout is unstoppable. Number 5, you were set up to be the scapegoat, but became the scandal. They thought using you as the scapegoat would be the easy fix. Pin everything on you, paint you as unstable, difficult, untrustworthy. Let the public chew you up while they slipped out the back door clean. That was the plan. Use your silence, your isolation, maybe even your pain as a shield to protect themselves. But what they didn't count on was the attention that kind of setup would bring. The more they tried to make you the villain, the more people started asking, why are they trying so hard to destroy this person? At first, the lies worked. People believed what they were told. Your name was dragged through headlines, whispered in hallways, discussed behind closed doors. They fed the machine, and the machine did its job. But something shifted, because while they were busy framing you, they slipped. Inconsistencies showed up, patterns emerged. And what was supposed to be a clean takedown started to look like a messy cover-up. Instead of burying you, they accidentally broadcast you. You became visible, the one everyone was talking about, and that visibility led to scrutiny on both sides, not just on you, but on them. The same people who tried to erase you found themselves under the microscope. Suddenly people started noticing what didn't add up. The timelines, the documents, the testimonies, things stopped making sense. And just like that, the focus shifted. You were no longer the scapegoat. You were the center of the story, but not in the way they intended. You became the crack in the wall that let all the truth pour in. The more they pushed, the more exposed they became. The public didn't just see you, they saw them, and what they were willing to do to protect their position. Now they're the ones under fire. Their actions, their decisions, their lies. It's all unraveling, and the person they tried to destroy has become the headline they can't escape. You didn't fight back with force. You didn't play dirty. You just survived. And that survival lit up everything they tried to keep in the dark. You weren't the scandal they tried to contain. You were the truth that couldn't be silenced. Number 6. Every lie they told is now a boomerang. Every lie they told was meant to be a weapon, a tool to twist the narrative, protect their own, and corner you in a version of reality that they controlled. They lied with confidence, thinking no one would question them. They forged statements, altered documents, coached witnesses. They spoke with straight faces, looked judges in the eyes, and acted like their version of the story was gospel. But here's the problem with lies. They don't vanish, they circle back. What they thought was strategy is now turning into a full-blown trap for them, Because once a lie is on record, it can be traced. And when you stack lie on top of lie, it only takes one piece of truth to knock the whole thing over. That's where they messed up. They got arrogant. They thought they were untouchable. They believed their web was too tangled for anyone to unravel, but now those false statements are being picked apart and they don't match. The testimonies contradict each other. The files don't line up. The story falls apart under pressure. But...
And so does the people that told the story. Y'all know? These people that went out here and did everything they can do to gonna cover this thing up so that man can die. And one thing I do know, I don't believe in death. So if I don't believe in death, I'm not daggone sending no man to death. Who is they to daggone kill this man? Who are they, the powers to be, the dark powers to be? Because ain't nobody in God even giving them permission to kill nobody or delete anyone. You know what I'm saying? You don't got the ability to do that. You don't got the power to do that. You know what I'm saying? Who are you? Y'all trying to play God, and you're not God. You cannot take that man's life. You know what I'm saying? He not even the one that did it. And the one that did it, y'all tried to protect every which way y'all could. And when everybody in the world know that the rat worked for y'all. Don Vito, Daniel Jelks, Two Guns Vito, whatever you want to call him. He worked for the system. And now they mad at him, and that's why they arrested him. Because we got to go ahead and arrest you, Vito. We know you did it. We tried to hold out. Now it's been uncovered. God ain't playing, huh, buddy?
Gave them. The emails they thought were deleted, recovered. The witnesses they prepped behind closed doors, talking. The timelines they manipulated, scrutinized. And the moment that first inconsistency got exposed, everything else started crumbling. Because when one lie is caught, the others become suspicious by default. They built a fake story so carefully, but what they didn't expect was for the real story to survive the storm. You didn't need to scream or throw punches. You just stayed consistent. You held your ground, and now that consistency is gold. It's proof. Because in a sea of contradictions, the truth always stands out. The same lies they used to trap you are now forming the noose around their own necks. Their paperwork, their signatures, their own words. It's all coming back with consequences. They called it smart. They called it tactical. But the law doesn't care what you meant to do. It cares what you did. And now every move they made to ruin you is on the record, working against them. They played chess with fake pieces. Now the board's flipped, and they're checkmated by their own hand. Number 7, your restraint was misread as powerlessness. They mistook your silence for surrender. In their minds, if you weren't shouting, you were done. If you weren't reacting, you were broken. They expected you to panic, lash out, or disappear entirely. But you didn't. You held still. Not because you were weak, but because you were calculating. They didn't realize that stillness can be strategy. That sometimes the most powerful person in the room is the one who says the least and watches the most. While they were busy putting on a performance, you were studying every line. You saw the inconsistencies, clocked the patterns, and quietly built your archive of truth. You didn't need to interrupt their show. You let them dig their own grave with every word they spoke, every fake apology, every twisted statement, every move they thought you missed. You caught it all. Because while they played loud, you played long. That was your power, the discipline to hold back when you could have easily exploded. They thought you had no defense, but in reality you were preparing the kind they couldn't see coming, the kind of response that doesn't scream for attention, it hits like a verdict. And when you finally moved, it wasn't emotional, it was surgical, precise, cold, and absolutely final. The trap wasn't set with noise, it was built with documentation, patterns, evidence, and time. That's what they never saw coming. They were counting on your breakdown, not your breakthrough. They thought if they kept the pressure on, you'd crack. But you didn't just withstand the heat, you turned it into fuel. And when the moment came when the walls finally fell and the evidence was undeniable, it wasn't chaos, it was closure. Now they're the ones silent, not out of restraint, but because they have no defense. Their lies are now public record. Their faces are now tied to a scandal they created. And the person they dismissed as weak, that's the one who outplayed them without even raising a voice. You didn't just win. You ended the game entirely. Number 8, you didn't just win a case. You shifted a power structure. This was never just about a legal win. The courtroom was only the surface, the place where the final blow landed. But the real war was being fought somewhere deeper, in the perception, in the silence behind closed doors, in the control of the narrative. They weren't just defending themselves against facts. They were defending a hierarchy they depended on, a system built on manipulation, intimidation, and carefully curated lies. And when your truth hit, it didn't just clear your name. It fractured the very structure they'd been standing on. They didn't fear the verdict as much as they feared exposure. Because once your story was out there, once the real events were laid bare, they knew people would start to question everything. Not just this case, but the ones before it. Not just your name, but the others they dragged through the mud without consequence. You weren't just one person in a courtroom, you were a domino. And once you stood up, the chain reaction couldn't be stopped. What collapsed wasn't just a case, it was credibility. Institutions that once felt untouchable suddenly looked flawed. Voices that used to silence others now sound desperate and inconsistent. And people who thought they were above accountability are now being forced to answer questions they never prepared for. All because you refused to let their version of the story become the final draft. You didn't fight just to be right. You fought to be heard. And that's what broke the system open. Because in a world where power often protects itself with silence and spin, truth is dangerous. It doesn't just change minds, it changes the rules. You didn't just win a verdict, you shifted the weight of influence. You made people rethink who they trust, what they believe, and how often they've been misled. And that ripple is still spreading. Long after the case is closed, long after the headlines fade, what you did will remain. Because power structures don't fall all at once, they crack quietly, then shatter. And you, standing in that courtroom, holding nothing but the truth, were the pressure that finally made it break. Number 9, they used the court as a weapon. Now it's a mirror. They didn't walk into that courtroom seeking justice. They walked in looking for a weapon. They thought the legal system could be twisted into a tool to silence you, discredit you, humiliate you. They filed with confidence, thinking their connections, influence, and false narratives would win the day before you even spoke a word. The court wasn't about truth to them, it was about leverage. They wanted to use procedure as punishment and process as pressure, but they never expected that same courtroom to turn into a mirror. At first it looked like it might work, the theatrics, the false evidence, the carefully timed leaks. They spun their narrative so well that people started to question you. They were banking on that, the doubt, the noise, the confusion, that was their real play. But what they forgot is that courtrooms, despite their flaws, still keep receipts. Transcripts, exhibits, affidavits, all of it gets etched into public record. And lies? They have a way of getting tangled when written down. As the case unfolded, their story started breaking apart. What was supposed to be a clean takedown started looking sloppy. The manipulation became obvious, the inconsistencies stood out. And what they thought would go unnoticed became undeniable. Witnesses contradicted themselves, documents didn't match timelines, the whole thing began to stink loudly, and that's when the shift happened. The court stopped being their weapon. It became a stage for exposure. Everything they tried to use against you is now sitting in black and white, preserved for the world to see, the fake reports, the coach testimonies, the cover-ups, all of it documented, all of it permanent. They wanted to bury you beneath a case. Instead, they've buried themselves beneath their own lies. Now, every time someone looks at the case file, they don't see a person who broke. They see a person who endured. They don't see a defendant. They see a survivor. And most importantly, they see them for what they really are. The court they thought would save their image has turned into a mirror they can't escape. And that reflection, it's brutal. Because it's not just what they did to you. It's what they've always been. Number 10. You became the storm they pretended to survive. They spent so much time rehearsing the role of the wounded, the wronged, the betrayed. Every tear, every carefully crafted statement, every camera appearance was a performance. They wanted sympathy. They wanted to wear the mask of the oppressed while holding the whip behind their back. They crafted an image of survival, like they had just barely escaped the damage you supposedly caused. But that whole act collapsed the second the truth began to surface. Because the real storm wasn't something they endured, it was you. And you weren't chaotic. You weren't out of control. You were the natural force that showed up to restore balance. They had been poisoning the waters for years. And you were the reckoning that revealed the flood wasn't an accident. It was their doing all along. The narrative they pushed was that you were reckless and dangerous. But it turns out the only thing dangerous to them was exposure. As the real facts came out, the mask slipped. And underneath all the trembling voices and dramatic victim speeches were architects of harm. They didn't just step into a bad situation. They created it. They framed you to shield their own sins. They twisted facts, rewrote timelines, and exaggerated stories to make sure the spotlight stayed off of them. But when your truth finally hit, clear, consistent, undeniable, it was like thunder rolling through a house of lies. People saw it, the switch, the exposed contradictions, the moment when crocodile tears dried up and panic set in. Because pretending to survive a storm is easy until the real storm shows up and checks the room. That's what you were. Not rage, but revelation. Not destruction, but justice delivered without apology. Now they're the ones scrambling for cover, not because of the storm, but because the world saw they were never the victims. They were the ones sinking the ship, then screaming for help while pointing at the person they'd tied to the anchor. You didn't just survive the story, you flipped it, and now their fake survival tale is nothing more than a failed script no one's buying anymore, because the truth didn't just reveal you, it revealed them for exactly who they are. Number 11. They underestimated your receipts, but overestimated their control. They thought they cleaned it all up, that the emails were deleted, the conversations forgotten, and the lies covered well enough to pass. They believed their power gave them immunity, not just from consequences, but from being remembered. They overestimated how much control they had over you, over the situation, over the truth. What they didn't realize was that while they were busy rewriting the story, you were quietly archiving every chapter they tried to remove. They underestimated your receipts. To them, you were just another person to outmaneuver, someone they thought would be too emotional, too broken, too intimidated to fight back with facts. But you didn't need drama, you had data. You had timestamps, you had files. You had screenshots, dates, records, and patterns they thought no one paid attention to. And while they relied on charisma and power plays, you relied on patience and precision. You knew they were arrogant, you counted on it, and you were right. The evidence they thought was erased, you never let it disappear. The shady texts, the double-dealing emails, the off-the-record phone calls that they assumed left no trace. You had the proof, quietly, securely waiting. And now those overlooked details, those tiny, irrelevant inconsistencies they never thought would resurface, are sinking their entire defense. Because power only works when no one challenges it. And once you came forward, not with emotion, but with documentation, everything shifted. The courtroom didn't care about their feelings. The judge didn't care about their status. The public didn't care about their rehearsed image. The only thing that mattered was what could be proven. And you brought receipts they didn't know existed. Now, the very people who once walked in with confidence are stuttering through explanations. The calm they used to command is gone. Their story is full of holes, and your evidence is pouring through every single one of them. What they thought was erased is now projected in front of everyone, official, time-stamped, and damning. They didn't just underestimate you. They miscalculated everything. They thought silence meant weakness. They thought no one was watching. But you weren't just watching, you were documenting. And now, the very details they ignored have become the facts that are tearing their entire foundation apart. Number 12. The court didn't vindicate you, you overrode the court. Let's be clear, this wasn't some noble pursuit of justice playing out in a balanced courtroom. It was never fair. From the beginning, it was rigged. Subtle, calculated, and dressed up in professionalism, but underneath it was warfare. A system that was supposed to be neutral had already picked a side, and it wasn't yours. The faces behind the bench, the procedures, the quiet delays, the strange omissions, it all told a story. They weren't preparing to hear you. They were preparing to erase you. They assumed you'd be another casualty of a machine that feeds off silence and power imbalance. And honestly, by design, you should have been. But what they didn't anticipate, what they couldn't factor into their perfect plan, was you. Not just showing up, but walking in with presence. Not just defending yourself, but making the system expose itself just by being in the room with you. You didn't just survive the trial, you hijacked it. You broke the quiet choreography they're used to. Every time you showed up, calm but unshaken, you shifted the atmosphere. You weren't loud, but you were undeniable. Your energy disrupted their comfort. Your consistency tore through their scripts. And your truth, even when ignored, began to echo in places they thought were soundproof. They tried to bury you in bureaucracy. They thought delays would wear you down. They thought legalese would confuse you. But instead, they ran into something stronger than any procedural tactic: conviction. You didn't come to be heard. You came to make them listen, even if the system had to bend to do it. So no, the court didn't vindicate you out of some moral awakening. It flipped because it had to. Because your evidence couldn't be dismissed, because your presence turned whispers into headlines, because the truth didn't ask for permission. It cornered them, it leaked, it spread, it gained momentum, and eventually the court had no choice but to respond, not out of integrity, but out of exposure. What happened wasn't a legal win, it was a structural override. You didn't just beat the game, you revealed the cheat codes, crashed the system, and made them reboot under pressure. They called it justice in the end, but the truth is, you forced it into existence. Number 13, they're going to jail not because of the system, but because you outlasted it. They're not being held accountable because the system suddenly found its conscience. Let's kill that fantasy right now. The system didn't save you. It failed you repeatedly. It ignored red flags, dragged its feet, and at times even protected the very people who tried to bury you. It wasn't justice that showed up, it was you. You didn't fold when they tried to wear you down with delays. You didn't disappear when it got silent. You didn't explode when they pushed every button to provoke a reaction they could use against you. You just stayed. You kept showing up, day after day, when they expected you to give up. And that's what unraveled everything. Not a gavel, not a closing argument, but your sheer refusal to disappear. The truth is, they banked on your exhaustion. They thought if they could stretch it out long enough, you'd walk away. That's how they'd done it before. Time was their weapon. Most people can't stomach the stress, the smearing, the financial drain, the isolation. And that's what makes this different. You did. You didn't just survive the process. You outlasted it. They ran out of options, not because the system turned righteous, but because you cornered them. You boxed them in with receipts. You boxed them in with consistency. You boxed them in with time. You outlived their smear campaigns, their strategic silences, their fake narratives. One by one, their tactics failed, not because they stopped using them, but because you stopped folding to them. That kind of endurance, it doesn't just crack stories, it cracks people. You didn't need to scream to be heard. Your presence said enough. The court didn't move until it was forced to. The media didn't shift until your story became too big to ignore. And now, the very people who thought they could operate without consequence are facing the thing they never thought would reach them: accountability. They're going to jail not because the system worked, but because you worked it to the bone. You stripped them of their advantage by refusing to go away. And that's what justice looks like when the system fails. It looks like someone who refuses to break. Number 14, you weren't just proven innocent, you proved the game was rigged. They wanted a quiet victory, one where you lost and disappeared and they kept their reputations intact, where the truth stayed buried under legal jargon, sealed files, and a conveniently distracted public. They didn't just want to accuse you, they wanted to use you as a scapegoat to protect everything rotten behind the scenes. But the moment you stepped up, not just to defend yourself, but to challenge the entire setup, something far bigger happened than a verdict. You weren't just proven innocent, you exposed the machinery. You showed how the accusations were never about justice. They were about control. How the evidence didn't vanish, it was hidden. How the court delays weren't accidental, they were strategic. And how the people who postured as victims were actually pulling strings behind closed doors. You didn't just walk out with your name cleared. You walked out having dragged the entire scheme into the light. And the most powerful part, you didn't need theatrics. You didn't need revenge, you just needed the truth. Once the curtain was pulled back, it was game over. The illusion couldn't hold. The carefully curated public images, shattered. The whispered lies that once shaped opinions, discredited. And the people who used the system like a shield, exposed without mercy. Now everyone sees it. Even those who were skeptical, silent, or complicit, they can't unsee the cracks anymore. The questions are being asked, the narratives are falling apart, and the trust they once weaponized has eroded, possibly for good, because when one person breaks through the rigging, others start to follow the trail. And what you did wasn't just win, you laid a map. That's the real shift. Not that you were declared innocent, but that their power was exposed as borrowed, brittle, and fake. The courtroom became your battleground, but the aftermath, that's your legacy. You didn't just clear your name. You rewrote the story they tried to force on you, and in doing so made sure no one will ever see them the same way again. Their masks aren't just off, they're destroyed. Let's not water this down. What just happened wasn't a win, it was a reversal of power. They came with lies, with arrogance, with a belief that the system would protect them like it always had. But they underestimated the one thing they couldn't control, you. Not just your voice, but your memory, not just your presence, but your endurance. They came to destroy a person. What they ended up exposing was themselves. This wasn't just about proving innocence, it was about dismantling illusion. They had the platform, the resources, and the reach. But you had what they never saw coming, receipts, resilience, and revelation. Every silent moment they mistook for weakness was actually you collecting ammunition. Every delay they engineered was just more time for the truth to sharpen its edge. In the end, the system didn't shift because it wanted to. It shifted because you gave it no choice. You were the glitch they couldn't override, the page they couldn't edit, the chapter that refused to be erased. And now, the very people who thought they could twist the story are the story. Their power collapsed the second you stopped reacting and started revealing. You didn't just clear your name, you exposed an entire web of deception. You dragged the darkness into the light and made it answer for what it did. And in doing so, you didn't just protect yourself. You made it safer for the next person they try to bury, because now the blueprint has been broken. Now people are watching. Now the curtain is wide open and their tricks no longer land. And maybe the most poetic part of all, the courtroom they used to try and silence you will forever echo with your truth. That transcript, it lives. That verdict, it speaks. And their names attached to a legacy of disgrace they'll never escape. So stand tall, not because a judge signed a paper, but because you rewrote history. You turned a setup into a spotlight, a trial into a testimony, and a smear campaign into a historic takedown. Let this be your reminder. When you refuse to fold, even the rigged game becomes yours to win. If this message spoke to your soul, if it confirmed what you felt but couldn't quite explain, don't keep it to yourself. Subscribe to the channel, because this isn't just content. It's confirmation, it's clarity, it's the kind of truth that reshapes your entire perspective. Drop a comment. Let the world know you saw it too. Your voice matters. Your testimony might be the next one that sets someone else free. Hit that like button if you've ever been underestimated, silenced, or set up, and still stood tall when the smoke cleared. Share this video with someone who's in the fire right now. Someone who needs to be reminded that just because the odds are stacked doesn't mean they're doomed. You're not just a viewer. You're part of a movement. And around here, we don't fold. We rise every single time. So lock in. More revelations are coming. And trust, you don't want to miss what's next.
Diablo's metal demon drill bit, thermal shield, protective coat, guards the tip, extending its life up to 30 times longer, and ensuring consistent performance with every drill. The automated precision CNC grinding process creates a cutting edge that boosts drilling speed up to 2 times faster, delivering flawless results every time. Visit DiabloTools.com to learn more.
Destitute, hurting, struggling. She is a Holocaust survivor who has seen far more evil than any human being should endure. Have you eaten this morning?
I ate the carrot, so I ate half of it yesterday, and I had it today for breakfast.
All these years, and things have not changed, and we're still appealing to all of us who can make a difference, and must make a difference.
We bring that light of hope in the darkness, and we say, there is hope for your future.
You know, it's an extraordinary thing when you finally decide to speak the truth. Not a truth born from resentment, not an outburst rooted in bitterness, but a clean, precise truth, the kind that slices through manipulation like a scalpel through corruption. Truth dismantles the narcissist's illusion faster than rage ever will. Because rage is reactive, it's loud, it's volatile, and it often plays directly into the narcissist's game. They feed on it. They interpret your emotional intensity not as strength, but as a confirmation that they still have control over your internal world. Rage is predictable. They've trained you into it, and when you explode, they can twist it, reframe it, turn it into a justification for their manipulation. But truth is entirely different. It doesn't flinch. It doesn't waver. It's quiet, precise, and it carries weight that can't be undone with gaslighting or guilt. When you speak truth without the need for approval, you're stepping out of the narcissist matrix. You're no longer dancing to their chaotic rhythm. You become an anomaly in their scripted drama, and it disorients them. Truth, especially when calmly and clearly spoken, reflects back the emptiness of the narcissist persona. It forces them to confront what they spend their entire lives avoiding, the hollowness within. When you say, I see what you're doing, and it no longer works on me. You're not just confronting behavior, you're exposing the foundation of their identity. Narcissists construct their reality on distortion,